Hi everybody, how are you doing? I hope all is well. And today I have some really sad and kind of repulsive, disgusting cases. And I spent a lot of time on them in the information part, which I usually just try to do who did it and and what they did. But today I went a little more in depth because this was some horrible stuff. And again, this stuff happens every day, everywhere around the world, in multiple places. You don't hear of it all because they will not put it out there because they do not want people to know. And they want to keep the focus off the corruption. These are the cases that we really need to take a look at and talk about because they are serious. And it could be any one of us or our family, children, grandchildren, etc. that this stuff happens to. The first case is not so bad. After that, it gets really bad. Okay, again, we're in the middle of November, towards the end, on the 19th. I think tomorrow we'll go into the 20th. This is Chicago, Illinois. Homeland Security Investigations. Special agent charged with tax structuring and concealment offenses. Anthony Sabatini, who was assigned to HSIS Field Office in Oakbrook Terrace, is charged with 5 counts of willfully filing a false federal tax return, 1 count of structuring a currency transaction, and 1 count of willfully engaging in a scheme to conceal a material fact in a matter within the jurisdiction of DHS, according to an indictment in the U.S. District Court of Chicago. Sabatini, 38, of Naperville, will be arraigned on a date to be set by the courts. Sabatini deposited a total of approximately $2,051. $2,051, I had a blank out for a minute, in cash into a bank account for which he was the sole signatory. He made the deposit via ATM or teller, with amounts of each depositing being less than $10,000 the indictment states. The deposits were structured in an effort to evade federal reporting rules, which require financial institutions to notify the Department of the Treasury about transactions of more than $10,000. The charges alleged this went on for 5 years. The tax charges allege that for each of the following 5 years, Sabatini willfully filed a false federal tax return that underreported his total income. To make this short, the concealment charge, he submitted false memorandums to his HSI supervisor to cover up the material facts. Sorry, I've been reading and writing all day for these. I actually just finished shortly ago, so my eyes are blah, blah, blah. Going funky on me. So forgive me. I am trying to focus. This again is November 19th, California, Sacramento. Former correctional officer charged with civil rights violation. These are the ones that get bad, so be prepared. And be prepared to be very angry and upset. Okay. former correctional officer charged with civil rights violations for assaulting inmates. A second former officer charged with falsifying the records. This one, I'm telling you, if you're weak at hearted, don't listen to it. A former California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation CDCR corrections officer was charged with criminal rights violations and submitting false reports. The federal grand jury in Sacramento returned an indictment against Ontario, I think it's Pacheco. I think it's Pacheco is how you pronounce it, 38, charging him with 2 accounts of deprivation of rights under color of law and 2 accounts of falsification of records in a federal investigation. Pacheco and another former correction officer, Ashley Marie Arich, escorted an inmate whose hands were handcuffed behind the inmate's back. During the escort, Pacheco bent down behind the inmate and pulled the inmate's legs out from under him. This caused the inmate to immediately fall forward violently, striking his head and upper torso on the concrete. Like, you have to be really sick. Really sick. And these are our officers and our correctional officers. Okay, violently striking his head and upper torso on the concrete. The inmate/victim was taken to the hospital where he died approximately 2 days later. Wait for the best part of it, and I'm being very, very sarcastic. Pacheco abused his position of authority to harm an inmate. I'm not sure how, again, to pronounce her name. Arich. Was charged separately with a single count of falsification of records in a federal investigation. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. That's all she got. Also, Pacheco, according to the indictment, used his pepper spray to spray a different inmate in the face at the time the inmate was calm and compliant. The pepper spray caused the inmate to experience an extreme burning sensation, physical pain, and temporary blindness. Why do these officers get to repeatedly violate people and stay in their positions? That's my biggest question. And not charged right away and taken out of their positions so they don't hurt anybody else. It had to get to killing somebody. Following that incident, Pacheco submitted another false report in which he falsely described his conduct and the reasons why he sprayed the inmate / victim in the face with pepper spray. What if these were innocent people, like in my last video, that were innocently arrested and this happened to them while in custody or as retaliation? Because these types of officers would do it to anybody for any reason, just for kicks. Okay, what if this was done to people who are innocent of the crimes they are accused of? We see this a lot now, where people get arrested for crimes they didn't commit and who are completely innocent. After the first violent sign, officers should be removed. This is why qualified immunity needs to be gone. And where are the murder charges, people? Where were the murder charges? Because in the end of this, there are no murder charges. So explain that one to me. I would really like to know. They said this guy died 2 days later. Where are the murder charges? I hear about the, the falsification of records and the violation of his rights. What about the murder? I'll leave you to think about that. And what if this was your family member? The max sentence of deprivation of rights, again, is 10 years and $250,000 for each account. And that's a fine of $250,000. And that's for Pasito, however you say that. And then for both of them, for the falsification of records and a federal investigation, it could be 20 years and then fine $250,000. Ridiculous. You get more time for falsifying records than violating someone's rights, and probably murder, because I don't see any murder charge. So obviously, in this case, more than murder. Have you also noticed that every charge I have read in fines in all of my cases, it's always $250,000 every time. They want their money, but they're not filing these charges right. They don't care about if the person gets punished, but they want their $250,000 each time. And I'm sure the fine sticks, where the punishment really doesn't. I had to go into this more in depth on this case for many of reasons, especially because, again, I see no murder charges in here. And these are people's lives. And even though somebody's in jail or in prison doesn't mean they're guilty and doesn't mean that they're a bad person. For something like this to happen is wrong. And for the people who sit there and go, oh, they're a criminal, they're scum, blah, 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 blah. Again, you don't know that. And number two, if it was your family member, I'm guaranteeing you'd have a totally different opinion on that. Okay? So I don't want to hear that, oh, they deserve it, they're criminals, and this, that, and the other thing. It's ridiculous. I just want to make sure I didn't grab more than one paper. And here's another one. Former Cheatham, and I think it's Cheatham County Supervisor of Corrections. This is in Nashville, Tennessee. And I'm pretty sure this might be the kid that I did the video on. So go back and look into my videos. This was very sick and sicker than it reads, because you actually get to see the video. And if it's the same one, which you don't know, because this goes on everywhere. It happens more than you know, trust me. Somebody was yelling in the background, damn, they're really cooking him. And the video is quite disturbing. Okay. County Supervisory, which this is a high-positioned correctional officer, sentenced to repeatedly tasing a restrained detainee. And this is a boy. I changed it to boy because detainee sounded so ridiculous. This was a boy, an 18-year-old boy, who was very depressed, if it's the same one, and kind of wanting to harm himself and not be saved. Okay. Former supervisory correction officers Mark Bryant, 42, was sentenced to 5 years. 5 years. in prison for repeatedly tasing a restrained pretrial detainee inside the Cheltenham, I think it's Cheltenham, I don't know, county jail in Tennessee. I think if I heard it pronounced before, it was Cheltenham. Where I lost my place now. Okay. Repeatedly tasing and restraining a pre-trial detainee in the Cheltenham County Jail in Tennessee. A jury in Middle District of Tennessee convicted Bryant of 2 accounts of violating Title 18 United States Code 242 for using excessive force while acting under the color of law. 2 accounts and 5 years. So split it up. That's ridiculous for what he did to this boy, this 18-year-old boy. The extraordinary abuse of power displayed by Bryant was both disturbing and disgusting. Most of them forgot or just didn't care that, and I'm talking about most of these officers, which I guess I was writing and didn't think, but I should say most of these officers have forgotten or just don't care that they are supposed to be the ones to protect the citizens. They are the ones who are supposed to be responsible for all citizens' safeties. But as you can see from many, many, many cases, that just is not the case anymore. There's your truth. And here's your sign. This detainee was an 18-year-old boy. This could have been any one of our children. Evidence presented at trial established that Bryant repeatedly tased 18-year-old boy who was restrained and surrounded by officers inside the jail. That night, Bryant tased the detainee, the boy, 4 times for a total of 50 seconds. Do you know how long that really is, especially when you're being tased? It's usually like da-da-da. Okay, imagine that for 50 long seconds. And you see what it does to some people, just that da-da-da. Okay, imagine 50 long seconds and what it could really do to your nerve system, your body function, your brain. This is serious. These are weapons. And they're supposed to stop people from hurting you or killing you, not used just for the hell of it. It is time for people to wake up and start making a difference and making changes in America. This is not the land of the free. This is not how you treat citizens. This is not how you treat children. It's got to be stopped, and qualified immunity has to go. They do it because they know they can get away with it. And even the ones who are prosecuted, look at these charges. They're slap on the wrists. Okay. After he was tased for 50 seconds 4 times while restrained and strapped into a chair and being held by other officers, Bryant returned 2 hours later and tased the detainee again. This time while the detainee, the boy, was handcuffed and shackled and compliant. So after you tortured him once, you came back and tortured him again while he was still handcuffed, shackled, and being compliant. For the fun of it, you might as well say. As a result of Bryant's unjustified use of force, the detainee suffered body injury, including burns that an officer on scene described as making the boy's skin looked like raw hamburger meat. As the senior officer at the scene, Bryant then directed his colleagues not to submit reports regarding his use of force on the boy. So he tortures the boy and then tells all his other officers, don't you do reports on this. No reports will be done tonight. I wonder why. And this is a senior officer, once again, a senior officer. Bryant's abused his power as a supervisory correction officer by assaulting a restrained boy in his custody and then telling other officers not to do reports. This happens more than you know or could ever imagine. Do your research and keep watching for more cases as we follow the corruption right here. I will be keeping you informed. And then I thought I was going to go to just another report to end it, but here we go. November, Kentucky, London. And this is November 20th, so it started today. I forgot I added this little tidbit in there because these cases have got me so fired up and so mad. Reading them and getting them ready for the report has absolutely had me fuming. Former Rockcastle deputy jailer sentenced to 39 months for civil rights violation. Now, this is a little bit more than that one. Okay. A former Rockcastle County deputy jailer, Derek Stephen Clark, 25, was sentenced to 39 months in federal prison for violating the civil rights of an inmate in custody. Clark was convicted by a federal jury. According to the testimony at trial, Clark and others placed an inmate/victim into a restraint chair. Clark then aided and commanded the assault of this victim by another inmate, which resulted in bodily injury. Afterwards, Clark completed an official incident report to document the incident. But in completing the report, Clark falsely stated that after he and others placed the victim into the restraint chair, the victim began spitting at deputy jailers, causing inmates to intervene. Clark's false report indicated one inmate instinctively slapped the victim, which caused the victim's lip to bleed. And the victim then spit blood, causing the inmate to then punch the victim. The evidence established that in truth, Clark and others placed the victim into the restraint chair, and the victim did not become physically combative or spit at deputies before being punched by inmates. So he lied, he set this person up, and he assaulted him along with having other people assault him. And then did a false report and lied, which we all know happens daily. The officers lie. They're told they can lie, so they lie in everything they do, including violating people's rights. Every second of every day, they're violating somebody's rights. They're falsifying the information. They're falsifying the reports. They're lying about everything. And then they have qualified immunity to get them out of trouble. It's ridiculous. And again, he got more time for this than the other one got for repeatedly tasing somebody. How does it make sense to you? It's absolutely absurd. Under federal law, Clark must serve 85% of his prison sentence and will be under the supervision of the U.S. Probation Office for 2 years following his release. Big freaking whipped. Whip-de-doo. These cases should be so under your skin right now, and you should be absolutely fuming that this has been allowed to go on, and it does go on, and it will continue to go on as long as us United States citizens don't stand up and make changes. I, for one, am so disgusted on what's going on here in the United States. I will do anything that I possibly can in the right and legal way to make changes. And I need you, and all of you, I should say, to support me and every other United States citizen who is trying to make these changes. We all need to unite and make these changes before it's too late. We are not free. We are tortured. We are taken advantage of. We are lied to. We are violated, etc., etc., etc. I can't even give you, sorry, excuse me. I can't even give you the list of wrong that is done to us. It's way too long. Just look around, do your research, and keep watching, because I will keep giving you case after case of this kind of disgusting, repulsive behavior by the people who are supposed to be looking out for us and protecting us. And that is not happening, and it's not going to happen. Things have changed to the point of no return. There is too much corruption, there is too much allowed, and there's too much protection for the people who are the corruption. And I'm going to make this a short one tonight because I have somebody to discuss some more information that I want to put out, and he's going to give me some help with getting this information out and putting the information out. And I have to go do this meeting now to get it to then pass it on to you guys. So I also have some things with my family that's going on, so I got to go take care of that too. So I have to cut it short tonight, but I really wanted to get these stories out to you because these were very important ones. And I need you guys to watch it and listen and understand that this is not a one-time thing. This is a daily thing. This is probably every 10 seconds in America, as they say with other crimes. It's something that happens, and most is not reported. Most is not tried. Most is never even brought to light. Just because it's not reported or it's not in a case doesn't mean it's not happening, because 99.9% of the time it's covered up. And this is why we have to make change, especially for the cases that are so handled wrongly. Handled wrong, covered up, acted like nothing ever happened. It is happening. And it shouldn't be able to be covered up, and it shouldn't be able to disappear, and it shouldn't be able to be hidden and cases not filed and no punishment done for them. I don't even have to explain it to you, because if you have common sense, you know what I'm trying to say to you. This stuff needs to be stopped. And that's all I can say. So I'm going to let you guys go for tonight. I will be back to talk with you more about this and other cases tomorrow night. And hopefully in my meeting, I will find even more information to give you. So you guys have a great night. I love you. Again, this is because I care, and we need change, and we need it now. All right, guys. God bless. Have a great night. And we